Hello, everyone. I pray all is well. We got a good video today. For those of you who are new, my name is Colby Boone. I am managing director and founder of Boone Capital. We are a private equity firm, Reg D 506C, focused on real assets, man. So land, ranches, timber, and all the beautiful and wonderful things that come with God's country and the great outdoors, man. Today's video is going to be a good one. I have been having several conversations with about eight specific, very key specific North Dallas and specific conservation groups and organizations across, I would say, the Texas Triangle between Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, if you will, in regards to a property we're currently underwriting, which is a 356-acre former sand and gravel quarry mine that is in Dallas County, Texas. This particular property has one of four lakes. One is a 55-acre lake that we are estimating. We're underwriting, getting all of the back information from the former company that had it, but we estimate to be almost 200 feet of depth. Talking with a group out of Florida currently that does wetland mitigation, compensatory banking, mitigation banking, that type of world. And we're looking at doing our due diligence process using what's called a Bethnic. I might be saying that wrong. I believe it's called a Bethnic drone or machine. It flies over the water and it helps you to be able to kind of choreograph and map out the quarry so you can see its depth and all those things coming in. Because this particular group is highly interested in the water. And that's kind of the basis of today's video. I've had some conversations with, again, some of these folks that are on the ecological side. We kind of fit in this, we kind of fit in this unique world where we're having conversations with both development folks and conservation folks. And historically, those two sides haven't per se ate lunch together. But as things continue to change in a growing, developing, and a changing world, I believe those discussions are becoming more and more important, and most specifically important around water use rights, surface rights, and below when you come to your aquifers, when it comes to your aquifers as well. So today, what I want to do is make sure that I'm rooted in facts. As always, I want to share with you context that you guys can go and look up and give the true basis of this video. So, what actually happened in Austin? All right. So last year, Governor Greg Abbott called a water and he called water an emergency item for the Texas legislature. And the reason is very simple. Texas is growing extremely fast, extremely rapid, and the demand for water is increasing as infrastructure is getting older, it's aging, and state leaders have pretty much concluded that the current system wasn't prepared for the next several decades. And that's not me saying that. I'm pulling that statement directly from April 6th, back in April 16, 2026. Midland Reporter Telegram actually put out an article that said Abbott urges Texas water entities to seek $1 billion in grants. And I remember having a conversation recently, it was probably about a month ago. I'm talking about this quite a bit with folks that said water is, yep, it was a guy in Utah, actually. We had a conversation. Water is going to be a part of the discussions in the next 20 years, the same way we talk about silver and gold today. I was like, wow, this was a huge conversation. We went a little bit more in depth in it. And on the basis of that conversation, we were talking about the whole data center deal and the cooling systems and desalination and that type of world. But the guy was essentially saying, we'll be talking about water like a regular thing in the coming years. And I think what's so important before I jump into the rest of this, as well as if you look at the growth of the Texas Triangle, I myself, me and my wife, we have a rental property that would be within that Texas Triangle. And my wife just sent me 2 days ago a picture. She was showing some of the mixed use development that's taking place, more property subdivisions. And she was like, hey, babe, like look at 2022 when we bought this property and where this area is today. And this was considered, I mean, at the time, it would take you about an hour to get to Dallas because of traffic. But now that infrastructure has pushed out east, as well. And it's amazing to see the growth, but it's also something that I think for folks that are in our space of land, it's something to be concerned about of where the real tailwinds and where the actual headwinds as well. So let's keep going. So what happened during the meeting? The key people behind the effort were, of course, Governor Greg Abbott, State Senator Charles Perry out of Lubbock, Representative Cody Harris of Palestine, and the Texas Water Development Board, as well as obviously there was other lawmakers from both sides of the track who ultimately supported, and it's something big if you can get both sides to agree on something, but who ultimately supported a long-term water funding strategy like we need water. So what exactly did they pass? What they passed was Senate Bill 7 and House Joint Resolution 7. And Senate Bill 7 expanded and strengthened the Texas Water Fund, which brought in eligible water projects and gave the state additional tools to coordinate and finance water infrastructure. Now, House Joint Resolution 7 sent a constitutional amendment to voters that created a long-term funding. Remember, I was talking about 1 billion long-term funding mechanism for water projects across Texas. And again, just so you guys can go and do your own research, I'm pulling this directly from Greenberg Strawrig. That was back in December 1st of 2025. Like I said, this was last year sometime. We were working on this thing. And also the Houston Chronicle put that article out last June, actually, of last year. Governor Greg Abbott signs $20 billion plan to fix Texas water shortages. So why was this such a big deal? And why am I talking about this a year after in June of 2026? This wasn't a 1-year appropriation, guys. This vision was approximately $1 billion per year for 20 years. Billion per year for 20 years, dedicated toward water infrastructure, water supply, flood mitigation, conservation, and related projects. So $20 billion in 20 years, man, it's a big deal and a long-term commitment. Now, what exactly is the problem that they are trying to solve? Obviously, we need more water, right? But there's other aspects of that too. So Texas leaders pretty much pointed to 3 major issues. Number one is population growth. As I mentioned, just the Texas Triangle is just booming. I think I saw something that said 85 million in the next 40 years. I've seen other numbers as well, but don't know if it'll get that high. Obviously, we'll see in 40 years, but it is definitely growing for sure. Number 2 is going to be aging infrastructure continues to keep coming up. I can attest to that. Anybody, I can take from my own experience, anybody who's ever driven on 35, 75, in some cases the tollway, construction seems to take forever. Shout out to those guys. I know they're doing an amazing job, and there's a lot of people moving. Hey, it's a lot of traffic. It's a lot of things that are moving as well. And number 3 is future water shortages as a result of that growth. Now, Governor Abbott specifically highlighted that Texas loses billions of gallons of water annually through that aging and leaking infrastructure. So our question then will become, what projects will actually receive funding? Ding, ding, ding. This is where, my eyes kind of perked up. So it's not just reservoirs. Funding can support new water supplies, desalination, as I mentioned, water reuse, conservation projects, wastewater infrastructure, flood mitigation, pipeline and conveyance systems, and improvements to aging infrastructure. So from our angle, when we think about that, as I mentioned earlier, that conversation around data centers that me and a buddy out of Utah were talking about with desalination and some of the other factors there, our angle is this: we leave the politics and that type of deal to the folks who make those decisions. But when we start talking about surface rights, mineral rights, things of that nature, that kind of moves into our lane when it comes to land. And what caught my attention, if you will, is what legislation is pretty much telling us is that when a state as large as Texas commits tens of billions of dollars towards water infrastructure over the next 2 decades, that's a signal. That's a signal if I ever seen one. It's a signal that water has become a strategic resource, not in theory, but actually in practice, and dollars are following after. So if you're a ranch owner a farmer, landowner, investor, developer, conservation organization, family office, whatever the case may be, you should be paying attention, because historically people value land based on, location, timber values, which uh, pulpwood and chip-n-saw markets have kind of softened. We're seeing in some areas of the country it's kind of coming back, but saw timber is still kind of reigning supreme. Mineral rights, obviously, big deal. Agriculture, row crop, corn, sweet potatoes, soybeans, that type of world, and development potential. That is historically that has been where land investors are kind of looking at. But increasingly, what I'm seeing is access to reliable water is becoming part of that equation too. So, in so many words for today's video, I don't want to go too long. I'm not saying that every pond, as we call it here in the Southeast, or tank, as we call it in Texas, is settling worth and fortune. That's not what I'm saying. Somebody can go out today and say, "Hey, boy, we got to get these bass out of here." Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that every ranch with a creek is not also per se a gold mine. I know that's something, let me clean it up, that every ranch with a creek is not also a gold mine. I know that's something of great value. And even looking at my own family property, access to water is huge for us, for wildlife potential. I'm not saying that. There is a value that's there. When it pertains to this particular bill and the scale that the water needs are, what I am saying is that Texas leadership just made one of the largest water infrastructure commitments in state history. $20 billion, 2 decades. When governments, businesses, and investors start focusing on the same resource at the same time, you want to start paying attention. And I think for us as a firm that is uniquely positioned in this space between in the world of finance, when it comes to private equity, when it comes to this space of obviously raising capital underneath 506C, we're evaluating these deals, we're evaluating these properties, and we're looking at the $1 billion Continental Land Conservation Fund that's been stood up to buy back these private ranches and make them a part of state parks. 54,000 acres just got bought with that fund. I think, what was it called? Cedar something. I can't call the name right now. That ranch just got purchased by Texas Parks and Wildlife. I had a conversation with one of the directors just the other day, one of the program directors just last week, and they're buying these 1,000+ acre tracts. They're on their radar. When I look at this tract that we're currently raising for and water, and we look at $20 billion, that's, God, it's $19 billion more spread out over 2 decades. These are the micro, maybe not macro, maybe not nationwide, but these are the micro tailwinds that we see along with the push of the 1031 exchanges maturing in debt from 2020 and 2025. I think it was 957 million that came mature. This year, it's supposed to be like 850 million coming mature. You got the generational wealth transfer. They're starting to stack these very real shifts and understanding why capital has to move and where that capital is moving to. This is the real stuff. This is why I love what we do when it comes to land. If this interests you, and it's not just me nerding out, leave a comment. Let me know if you like these type of videos and conversations that aren't just about finance, not just about deals per se, but kind of in the changing world and the news that matters. We'd love to hear from you. Again, my name is Colby Boone. You can reach out to us and schedule a call at boonecapital.co. That's boonecapital.co. We'd love to have a conversation with you, and super excited to continue to grow in this community and share what we're doing in the land space. So that's all for today. God bless you all. Take care.